This is a superbly efficient, effective mode of transport. Should that be a negative? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Honda Rebel 1100 came out 1 year ago in 2021 as a result of the success of the 500cc version of this bike. So what we're dealing with, 1100cc, 81 horsepower, 223 kilos curb weight, and get ready for this, just £9,099 for this bike. The problem is, in this sector, the cruisers, the bobber sector, good isn't good enough. People who buy these bikes are looking for something intangible. They're looking for something cool, they're looking for looks and character, probably in reality above actually the quality of the motorbike itself. So, in a sector so focused on the looks and the cool factor, and with Honda maybe not having the might of the cool factor with the likes of Harley Davidson and Indian and Triumph, it has to bring something else to the table, and that is what I'm looking to find out in today's episode. The Triumph have had great success in bringing their own flavour to this bobber market. We know that Indian are back on the scene now, so Harley Davidson definitely do not have this sector to themselves, but I cannot wait to find out what a Japanese twist on a bobber has to offer. Walk around. Okay, where should we start? Let's go from the front. So you've got these big chunky front tyres. That really is quite a wide tyre there with metal front mudguard, and I can tell, beautiful, really, that is a very, very high quality finish on the paint, but would you expect anything else from Honda? LED front light as standard, LED, 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 very nicely designed indicators there. And look at the forks, a great, I don't know if you call that almost an anodized fork, but beautiful black forks. Big radiator at the front. Engine. You may recognize the engine. This is the engine, the 1100cc engine from the Honda Africa Twin. Now, I'll be completely honest, this engine is not going to win any beauty awards. If you look at especially the Triumphs and the Harleys, much better looking engines. So immediately with this bike, when engines are important the way they look, it's not the best looking engine in the world, I'll be completely honest. Fuel tank. In fact, I won't send it yet, I'll show you that in a second. Fuel tank, very unique with the way that the frame is at this angle and the fuel tank just cut away like that. It's a good looking thing. It's very unique, completely unlike the Triumph and the Indian. Now, if Triumph, Harley Davidson or Indian put a digital display on one of their bobbers, I'd be saying that does not fit at all. But it's Japanese, and this is, I like to think of it as a modern take on the bobber. So it's a very well laid out instrument binnacle. You've got the fuel gauge, the range in miles, the rev counter, even the temperature. You've got a few different riding modes. In fact, I think you've got 4 riding modes. If I go from there, you've got rain, standard and sport. And you've also actually got wheelie mode as well. This bobber has wheelie mode. I'm never going to be the type of person to talk about suspension because I don't know, I'm just not a good enough rider to make the most out of it. But I've just seen these are Showa, so they will be, I'm sure, extremely good. They look very nice as well in black. They look brilliant. Big exhaust, but now regulations, yada yada, you're going to have it. Comes with a rear seat, easy to take off, and it comes with, or you can spec it with, a really good looking touring pack actually. So it's got a front fender, it's got a back, where you can get a backrest for it as well, panniers. This can be a touring bike from what I've seen online. Right, Monica, if you come around here and I'll show the size of the bike. I'm 6'1", 80 kilos, just to give you an idea of my overall size. This is how I am. Now, I know with these bikes, there's so often people saying it goes with the Triumph bobber, the Indian Scout bobber, and this. People always say, yeah, but it's not good for tall riders. This is the style of the bike. I'm 6'1", and it's absolutely fine. I've been riding around all over the place. That's the bend in my leg. This is the style of bike. It's exactly the same in reality, comfort-wise, angle of my leg-wise, as the Indian, as the Triumph. It's perfect. It's all-day comfort. I've ridden for a few hours on it, and it's really nice. The comfort, the size of the bike. It's my kind of bike, 100%. Rear seat. Ooh. It's a decent angle on your legs. It's not the most comfortable, but put a backrest on and that'll be fine. Again, metal rear mudguard with that really nice Honda actually engraved in the rear mudguard. This is a brand new bike. I think it's only done about 50 miles or so, and after one day of having it, that's happened. Welcome back to the UK. I think someone just clipped the number plate in a car park, so I've had to put some tape on that. I will apologise profusely to Honda and beg them to lend me a bike in the future. Hopefully they won't get too angry at that. And Monica, just if you come around to the side, I just want to show you the overall look on this. And one other thing I did forget, single disc on the front wheel, which is, it's quite interesting actually on a relatively powerful bike like this, 80 horsepower, single disc. And the overall look of the bike, it's actually, you know, it's Japanese, but it's not a tech fest, this. It's a very nice, simple, stripped back bike. You don't get an overall kind of sense that there's tech going on everywhere. It's very nice, very stripped back. It's a nice place to be. So first impressions, very good. As always, when I get a new bike to test out, first thing, quad lock onto the handlebar, and quad lock have a brand new premium version of their handlebar mounts. This is in essence exactly the same as the old one, except this is aluminium. So this will fit, I think, extremely well with the bobber. So, oh, it's nice. This, you may not be able to pick it up on camera. That is heavy. Oh, it's windy. That is heavy duty aluminium. So I'll put this on the bike now. On goes this, and it's got a great hinge as well. Really beautiful quality, these. Done. And that's on, and you can see the vibration dampener working there. Jump on the bike. Boom. Why do I love England so much? It's cold and grey, but we're in the Suffolk countryside here. I'm in fields, there's no smell-o-vision, but oh, manure, I've missed that smell, yeah, horse poo. Oh, okay, lovely farmhouse over there. It's cold, it's grey, it's wet, but look behind me, Monica. Just You know, I've missed this. A church just in the distance, a rugby pitch there, beautiful house there. Good old England, I love it. First things first, this is an incredibly, incredibly fun bike to ride. It instills confidence because it's so easy to ride, and that translates into just encouraging a little aggression in the most gloriously feel-good way. It's a bit like a lamb experiencing a nice warm day for the first time. You just can't believe how easy going it is. It can be aggressive if you want it to, and with that 81 horsepower, it can keep up with anything. It's got more than enough power on tap to keep up with absolutely anything in real road conditions. There's no way you'd ever need more power, and it does encourage you to attack the bends in a way that the Indian Scout Bobber and the Triumph Bobber don't do. They are more compromised with, and I haven't checked this, with the lean angle. This just feels like a more compact, agile bike. Let's have a look. There, so that's the foot peg, but if you leave the foot peg scraping a bit, you can go all the way down there. All the way there. And it's so easy to lift up and down. 223 kilos with all the fluids, but I could do this all day. It is so unintimidating, this bike. I mean, I've never felt anything like it. It really is the least intimidating bike, but it can be a brute if you want it to be. And let's get on to looks. I think it looks superb. I really do think it looks brilliant. It's a Japanese take, and it looks brilliant. Okay, I wanted to show you two things that I completely forgot in the first bit. Japanese practicality, something you don't get with the Indian and the Triumph. Okay, you can stay there, Monica. Storage. How brilliant is that? It's even got a little storage thing under the seat. Practical and genuinely a cool bike. I mean, what more do you want? Oh! I've just trod in a huge dog poo. Oh! We're out in the countryside now, but yesterday and the day before I was out for an hour and a half riding around Ipswich, and this, I promise you, this is an urban weapon, this bike, for riding around town, lane splitting. It's a really, really effective tool. This can be a commuter bike, and a very, very good commuter bike. It's got a decent turning circle. It's light. The weight is situated low down. The seat height is low. You can really, really cover ground very quickly, not only on the motorway, where it's also extremely smooth and refined, but in a city environment, this is an excellent tool for the job. I'm starting to think that this can be your one and only bike. It can be a weekend cruiser where you go, you go out with your friends and you've all got these, fancy weekend toys, or you can use it as a day-to-day commuter bike in the big cities. And the engine, 1100cc engine in this, it suits the bike perfectly well. It really does. It means it's always got power on tap, and it's got low down grunt, and it does genuinely fit the bike well. Usually I'm not one to have excessive horsepower, but 80 horsepower with an 1100cc bike feels like the absolute perfect combination for this. Look, a superbly efficient, sensible mode of transport is not top of the list when you're looking to buy a bike like this. But this is a superbly efficient, effective mode of transport. Should that be a negative?
Summertime, love's in a crowd. Summertime, everything's just fine. But autumn came, turn love into shame, and love's a game, no one's to blame. Who are you counting on? Who are you leaning on? When the cold winds blow strong, who are you counting on? Wintertime.
The competition. Harley Davidson Sportster, Indian Scout and Triumph Bobber. Now, I've never ridden a Harley Davidson, but that's about £14,500 with a 1200cc engine. 14,500. The Indian Scout is £12,300, 1100cc, 100 horsepower, 256 kilos, and the Triumph Bobber, £12,100, 77 horsepower, and 251 kilos. The Honda Rebel, 1100cc, 81 horsepower, around, if I remember correctly, 230-ish kilos and 9,100 pounds. Look, in reality, anything over 80 horsepower for a cruiser or a bobber like this, it's just top trump numbers. I've ridden the Scout Bobber with 100 horsepower. Yeah, it's nice, it's fine, but you don't notice that extra distance, that extra power in the bike. You're not going to be leaving the Honda Rebel if you're on the Scout Bobber. You're just not going to be. So it's nice to have that extra power, but it's not remotely needed at all, so I don't see that as a huge positive. There are a lot of positives, though, if we're looking at the Honda Rebel. I mean, the Indian Scout, it's got messy wiring. The suspension will break your back. You get water all up your coat when it's wet because the mudguard is short. Whereas on the Honda, you get traction control as standard. You get storage under the seat. You get an hugely better lean angle than compared to the Triumph and the Indian. So it's more fun at attacking the bends. It's more dynamic. It feels like a better rider's bike, the Honda. If you said to me, the Honda is £12,000, it's on a level with the Triumph and the Indian, all at around about £12,000, I would say fine. That seems reasonable. But it's not. It's £3,000 plus cheaper than the Triumph and the Indian. And I honestly, I don't differentiate them. I see them all on a level. I don't see where that extra £3,000 is on the Indian and the Triumph. I really, really don't. This bike is on a level with those three, but it is £3,000 cheaper. Put your sensible hat on. There is no real argument that I can see to go out there and buy one of the Americans or the British bike. On paper, that is the only bike to buy. And if we look at the intangible stuff, character-wise, I think there's an argument to say that actually that engine with the exhaust note, once you get it up and running, it's a glorious thing. I think there's an argument to say that's got a bit more character than the Scout, because the Scout isn't the most characterful, and that is actually quite a playful, characterful engine. So it's going to have to be a good argument to argue for anything other than the Honda.
While I am by the telephone,
Come and have a listen to this, Monica. I completely forgot to do the exhaust sound. It's a characterful exhaust and you can hear that burble. Get ready. It genuinely has a nice throaty burble, actually, even as standard. You know, I like this because Honda haven't tried to emulate a Harley Davidson or an Indian here. This feels proudly Japanese. It genuinely feels like Japan's, Honda's take on how they see a bobber, and for that I think it's limitlessly cool because of that, because they've gone their own way with this bike. It feels very Japanese, but in the coolest possible way. It actually feels like the most gloriously perfect marriage of desirability, practicality and common sense, all wrapped up into a very sensibly sized motorbike that can be used in all environments. Before you go out and you buy an Indian Scout or a Triumph Bobber or a Harley Davidson Sportster, I strongly advise you to go to the Honda dealership and test out this bike before you make the purchase, because you may well be surprised. You may even be blown away. And there we have it, the Honda Rebel, proof that common sense doesn't have to be boring. Welcome to the party, Honda. And that's it, we'll wrap it up there, but please do let me know what you think about this bike in the comments. I love reading and seeing what your opinions are on all of the bikes, so I'll await your thoughts on it. I've got it for another 2 weeks, so you will definitely be seeing more of this bike, but thank you so much for coming along with us today. Please do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.